So today, what I really want to cover to start out is just the operation and manageability of it. We get a lot of questions around these, what does it look like when you move something like this into your environment? And the one way we like to describe this is it is a centrally managed, fully distributed data plane. Right? So the idea is we have the central single point of management. We have some of the tools that we'll talk about today. The main one's called PSM, Policy and Services Manager. We'll talk about some of the integrations that we have there. And really what we are attempting to do is to give you a single point of view, or a smaller, maybe one or two tools that you use in your environment to manage a fully distributed data center. So you can think that when you put configurations in, if you had one pair of CX 10,000 switches, or if you had 20 pairs of CX 10,000 switches, that the management of those would effectively be the same. They would all roll up to the same manager. So the slide you're looking at here really just talks about the operation of the CX 10,000 as a switch, and also as a distributed services switch. So at the top, you can see this is the networking piece. It has all the functionality, AOS CX, that is involved in the Aruba operating system. In fact, when you initially get the switch, you can turn it on. You can use it just like you would any other AOS CX switch. And then once you start to enable the stateful security services, we have a policy and services manager tool that we're going to talk about today that manages those functionalities, right? So things like security policies, logging off the traffic that is seen there. Those things are set through a different interface. And there is one of the things we'll talk about today, certainly, is the integration between some of the tools that you use on the networking side and the tools that you use on the security side. There's some groups that have very separated teams for those roles. There's some groups where that is a function that one team handles, and we're certainly able to amend either role-based access controls or give granular type controls to the different teams as well. So if you have any concerns there or questions there, please don't be shy. We'll share that as well. And then the next one here is just talking about what PSM actually does for us. So we can run PSM in a couple of ways. Typically in an environment, you run it as a cluster. You can run 3 instances together, and that's really for high availability. And you can log in any instance. They have a database that they share, so all of them are active. If one goes down, you should be able to run with no impact with the other 2 that are there. And each PSM or PSM cluster is talking to your fabric of switches, right? So you'll see some words. We call this a tenant. It could be called a fabric. But really what it is it's a collection of switches in your environment that are receiving the configurations from the management platform. I won't read you off the things on the side there, but we do a lot. You can also use it for visibility, right? You can do logging of some of your switches back to PSM if you wanted to do any type of analysis there. We have some tools that we're building in there. Certainly you have the capability to log directly from the switch out to your other tools that you're using in the environment as well. And the configuration and backup, you can do switch configurations and policy configurations and backups all through the management platform as well. I will say too, on PSM, we actually have a full REST API that is built into it. So for areas and groups that are doing any type of automation, or if they want to do some analysis by querying information, we have those capabilities as well. And we actually use that API to integrate with other management platforms such as Aruba Fabric Composer, which we'll see today, and vCenter if you're operating in a hybrid physical / virtual network. This goes along with what I was just saying. We've done some work and we continue to grow in the area of automation. So if you look at what we're attempting to do, the things that we bring, it's a lot of visibility. It's a lot of traffic. It's a lot of that security that comes along with being able to make decisions in more granular parts of the network. And to do that successfully at scale, you're going to need to implement some sort of automation. So we're really focusing on that as well. You can see here what we've started. There's a full Python library bindings that come along with each release that we have. There's Ansible playbooks and modules. We have our technical product management team manage those and build those. It's all open source. We've had customers that have built a few that have shared back, and also with other partners, right? So Aruba Fabric Composer, using some of the automation that they have built in, and if we'll touch on that a little bit. We'll talk about just the general idea of Aruba Fabric Composer, and then why it makes sense when you have a AOS CX infrastructure along with the CX 10,000 involved in the security services as well. So I can't see any of the questions or if there's anything up there. So if there's anything that we need to answer, somebody just pop in, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. All right, take that as a no. So again, just some of the operations just to think about. It really is the way I like to describe it. It's a centrally managed system that's fully distributed, right? It's distributed across all the switches that are in the environment. So if you manage 1 pair, 10 pairs, 20 pairs, the idea is that your time and your management expense, right, the time that you need to manage menu consideration should be pretty equal, very scalable.